Hi everyone, welcome back to our last session for our Castaway series on friendship. This week's teaching is called SOS because, like we said last week, God created us for friendship and community. But let's be real, like relationships are hard, like friendships are hard, and but we have to deal with them, and we it's worth fighting for the friendships that we encounter in our lives. But we need to be, we need to have our priorities straight and know like three basic things in our friendships. One, we need to remember that nobody's perfect. So we need to learn how to forgive those that sometimes hurt us. We also have to be kind to ourselves and also be humble. So we need to know and when to ask for forgiveness. And also, like Michelle said last week, sometimes friendships are just toxic and maybe they need to be rooted from our lives, like she said, and we need to learn when to cut them off our lives and just walk away from our friendships. So this week, we're going to ask someone about these three different aspects of friendship and see what she has to say. So let me introduce you to Miss Brenda Gomez. So nobody's perfect, right, Brenda? So
yes, except for me.
There's a lot of misunderstandings. There's a lot of hurt feelings, maybe unkind actions that sometimes happen in friendships. So, in your experience with friends, what are some good things that you've experienced in your friendships? What are some challenges that you have experienced in your friendships? And why should we continue to try to have good friends in our lives?
Why should we be striving to look for good friendships? Well, in every season in our lives, maybe if you heard a talk from me before, or especially if you did the leadership training with me, you've heard me talk about seasons. And that's something to be very aware of about ourselves as we continue to move on through our different stages of life. As we go through different seasons, we become a different version of ourselves when we get out of these seasons, or we're going through these seasons. We're constantly changing ourselves. So it makes sense why our friendships with people, the new friendships that we find, the people that we become close to, the people that we stray away from, it makes sense why they all are constantly changing. They're changing with us. They're changing with our personality, with our values, with our knowledge. They're just changing in that season with us. And so we can't always stay with the same friends. There are some friends, which I'll talk about, good friendships, but there are some friends that are consistent with us, that continue to walk with us, and that's great and everything, but not everybody walks with us. And so we need to strive to find other good friends that are in the same season with us, that can understand us, or even good friends that are past those seasons, that are older than us and can guide us through these seasons that we're currently in. So that's why it's so important for us to find good friendships in whatever stage we're in, wherever we go, because we are constantly learning. We can learn from another person. We can learn from a group of good new friends that can walk with us and help us with challenges that maybe our other friends can help with us before, or they're far away. So that's why you should always be striving for that. Things to find in good friendships are people that are going to allow you to grow. Like I said, you're always changing, and good friends are going to walk with you in this season of growth. It doesn't mean that your friendship is going to be perfect. It doesn't mean that you guys are constantly going to be happy 24/7 on the same page. Never is there going to be an argument, because that's not true. Even with my closest friend that I have found 3 years ago, like, we still have our challenges today. We still are learning to communicate with one another. Like, we've learned our ways, we've learned the different things that we like and dislike, and we've learned that we should not be afraid to speak up about a certain thing because we are intentional about our friendship. So good friends are going to be intentional with you. They're going to help you grow, and they're going to want you, they're going to learn how to communicate. They're going to make an intention to communicate with you very well. And that's important, communication in friendships. And also, they're going to listen, not just, hear what you have to say and then move on. It's like just me. Like, they're going to listen to what you have to say, and maybe it's the space that you need, and they'll give you that space. They trust in your decisions. They trust in what you need in that moment, and they'll give you the space, they'll give you the time that you need with them. They'll have that one-on-one if you need it, and if not, like, they are willing to be there for you when you're ready. And vice versa. This goes both ways. Challenges that I faced are basically the opposite of what I just said. Friends that would not allow me to grow. Friends that weren't willing to communicate with me. If I tried to communicate something, they would shut down and walk away, or they would yell back claiming I'm trying to change them, which is not true. Like, there are people who, you know, are forcing you to change, but other times you simply just need, you need a little help. You need help with one another to meet each other in the middle. If they're not willing to do that, then that's a challenge, and that's not a good friend. Another challenge is simply a friend who is not intentional. Again, like the opposite. They're not intentional. They don't try to have, they don't try to meet your needs. Just like if you're meeting their needs and they're not giving you anything back, that's a challenge, and that's not a person that's willing to be friends with you. So it's a long explanation, but yeah, basically that.
Awesome. Another thing we want to remember is that we have different level of friendships. You know, you may be part of like this dance company or a soccer team or whatever activity you do, or you're like online, like playing Fortnite, and you have like all this million people that you play with or whatever. That doesn't mean that you're going to go online or you're going to go to your soccer team and you're going to share your deepest secrets with that person, with like all those 500 people that you play, or 200 or 20, whatever that you play. You know them. These are acquaintances that you have, and that's one level of friendship. But then, you know, there's the other ones that you continue with the same things that you do throughout your life. You can maybe go to the same school, and maybe you grow closer to them, and you share other kinds of things, and maybe you share a little bit more. Maybe they know about your family. Maybe they know about, you know, your allergies, or maybe they know about like your dog that died, and, you know, they console you and they walk with you and all that. And that's good, but that doesn't mean, again, that you're going to trust them with like something that is really deep or really private in your life, right? For that, you have like friends that will remain friends with you, or like Brenda was saying, that will really listen to you and walk with you maybe for a long time. So, you know, if we think about it, like with Jesus, he also had different levels of friendship. Like he had like hundreds of people following him, and then he had like 72 people that he actually sent off out of all the 100 people that listened to him, that they thought, oh, I know Jesus, but they really didn't know him as like a friend, right? Because Jesus was like 100% human, just like you and I. Like he had friends, he had mom, dad, you know. So he also had like all these people that they listened to him. But then he only sent 72 out. Out of those 72, he picked 12. You could say best friends, like really close friends, like the 12 disciples, right? Out of all those 72. But out of all those 12 disciples, he actually had 3 really best friends. That in his time of need, when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane, when he knew that he was going to go through his passion, he called his 3 friends and said, John, James, Peter, can you come with me and hang out with me? I'm going through a really tough time right now. Can you keep watch with me? Which they fell asleep, but that's another story. But they were his best friends, right? Because nobody's perfect. We're talking about that, right? Nobody's perfect, and we will fail our friends. We will fail our family. We will fail our children, our mother. We will fail because we're human. We're broken. We fail, but we forgive and we ask for forgiveness. So that's kind of what James, Peter, and John did. Like they fell asleep on him, but Jesus was like, I still love you. Like you guys still my good friends. So like come keep me company. But even out of all those 3 friends, he kept one best friend, which was John. John walked with him to the cross with his mother, and at his time of death, he's like, John, like, son, here's your mother. Mother, this is your son. Just saying, like, you are my best friend. You walk with me. You listen to me. You went to my family. You console my mother. You are my best friend. And that's the level of friendship that we have in our own lives. With that in mind, I would like to ask Brenda again to share with us why is it important to have different level of friendships in our life, and how are these formed? So, Brenda.
Mommy said I'm finished.
Okay, so why is it important for us to have these different levels of friendships? Well, we're all many parts, but part of one body. And because we are many parts and we are part of a community, everybody, every friendship that we have, every companion that we may be with, they offer us a little something that somebody else may not be able to offer us, a piece of advice, or the way that we need to laugh at that moment, or the way that we need someone to simply just listen to us. You know, everybody has their different gifts. And that's why there are so many different levels of friendships, because you have your best friend who you tell everything to. But sometimes, like for example, my best friend, I love her so much and she's so understanding, loves to listen to me when I vent or whatever. But there are times that I need someone to tell me as it is. I need someone to help me externalize everything that's going on in my head. And she's an introvert, so for her it's kind of hard to help me externalize or get all these little wavelengths that I have going on. And so I have other very close friends that I trust as well, who I know can offer me that advice, who can be on that same many different wavelengths as me, and just, you know, we feed off of each other. We bounce off the ideas, you know, the arguments, the things. Maybe if I have a situation going on with my best friend, I need somebody else to talk to, like this person will help me. Because, you know, even though you get really close to someone and you can trust them with everything, it's never going to be perfect and you will always have issues. And sometimes you need to talk to other people to help you get out of that mindset. And so again, I have one very close friend, or one best friend, but many very close friends, because they all offer me a different way to process, a different piece of advice, a different way to just look at something, my outlook on a certain situation, or like my outlook on the world. You know, I have some friends that love like the world of books and like show me you know, especially God's love through that way, and other people who love nature and show me God's love through that way, you know. And just everybody offers me a little something that another person can't, which is why we are all made for community and not just for one person or for ourselves alone. We are made for many. So that's why it's so important for us to have those different levels of friendships, even people who may not be as close to us, but you know, the way that they accompany with us, the way they just simply sit with us and have fun, like we may not be able to have that with someone else. You know, they may have the same mindset of jokes as you, or same like activities or extracurriculars that you love, and so they're there to simply just hang out and get to share that piece of talent, that piece of thing, that piece of hobby that you have with somebody else. So, you know, and that's how you guys connect. Especially like friendships with God, like those are very grounded, those are very beautiful, and you know, last a while because God is everlasting. And the second question was, how are these different friendships formed? And just kind of how I was saying, you know, going off from my last one, you know, friendships are formed by your hobbies. Friendships are formed by the school that you go to, by the same teachers that you share, the same subjects that you share. Friendships are formed by your sports that you are in. They're formed by the church that you go to. They're formed with the ministries that you're involved with. There are so many different ways that friendships are formed, but the way that these levels are formed is and how involved you are with them, I would say. Like, there's an example of like a sports team. When you're in a sports team, if that's your whole entire life, besides, you know, the church, but if that's your whole entire life, you guys go through so many things together. You guys go through that competitiveness, through all the soccer practices, soccer games, the traveling. Like, you guys become a family. And I've seen a lot of people who like really take sports seriously, that they become their closest friends. They become closest friends with like those people, because that's who they see all the time and who they're constantly walking with. For me personally, like my different levels of friendships are the people from high school, which is really like one or two people that I still talk to. Because, you know, we eventually grow out of it. We go to different schools. We grow so much, again, that different seasons. But, you know, the friends that are willing to still walk with me and get to know me and reach out as I reach out to them, those are the ones that stick. The other ones that I have are the people from my church, the people from youth group, the friendships that I made there. You know, that is a different level of friendship because they know me. They know me from the beginning stages of my faith, you know, from when I didn't really know where I was as a Christian to now being so strong in my faith and continuing to strive for that faith, and how they continuously walk with me even when I leave to school and come back. And then the other level of friendship is the ones on my campus, you know, the ones that I'm constantly living with and that I love and that get to know me for me, and I walk with them as well. And we're going through like a whole different season, but something that is familiar with all these friendships, especially the ones that I've formed very close to, are the way that we're deeply rooted in God. Like the ones that I'm truly deeply rooted in God, and we talk about our faith together, we walk together in our ministries, we support one another in that way. Those are the ones that are continuously striving. Those are the ones that are super rooted in being intentional and walking with each other. Not that the ones that are not deeply rooted in God aren't as important or that I don't keep in contact with, but it's just the ones that are like that. We seem to understand each other and are even more intentional in the way that we walk and love one another and love our peers.
But sometimes when we spend a lot of time with someone and we start learning about their struggles, sometimes two things could happen. One, maybe we are not sensitive enough one day, or we're having a bad day, or something goes wrong and we hurt their feelings. So I want to ask you, Brenda, like how important it is to be humble, and how do you get there when you know that you have broken someone's, maybe not trust, but you have broken maybe their heart, you know, as a friend, and how do you ask for forgiveness and, you know, like, and you become humble so to let them know that you are really sorry and that you want to mend a friendship when you know it's worth mending and it's something that you know you did wrong for them.
Mm-hmm. So when we talk about asking for forgiveness with friends, I really think about my first year in college at University of Dallas. And it's hard, you know, when you're in a friendship or, you know, maybe you're living in the same quarters as other people, it takes a lot of humility to recognize that when there's a situation that happens between you, you need to reflect on it. And you need to ask yourself questions of like, okay, how did I say it a certain way? How could it have been miscommunicated? What could have I done better? Like, even though you like internalized everything beforehand, before you even talk to them, it's always good to think about it again after, or even talk about it to somebody else, because you never know. Like, people go through different situations, they go through life, family problems, maybe past friendships, and maybe the way that you said something, your tone, or even just saying like a certain word can trigger them, and you never know, you know? And I had a roommate situation where I tried to communicate a few things with them, and it took me like almost a week. It took me about a week to like finally like reflect and like write down what I wanted to say to them. And when I finally did, you know, I didn't say in a loud voice. I just try to communicate my feelings and assuring them, like, you know, I just want to be there the best way that I can, because they were going through a lot and I understood that. But in the end, like, all they gave me back was okay, and they didn't respond. And after like 5 minutes, I was just sitting there in silence, and they went back to what they were doing. And I was just so confused. I'm like, what did I do? Like, they didn't say anything back to me. And then 10 minutes later, I had gone and to do something, to talk to a friend, and when I came back, they were gone. Like, they had moved all their stuff out. They stayed with the RA that's there in our dorm, and they didn't communicate anything else. They didn't talk to me for a whole entire week, and I was just in my own head for that whole entire time thinking, what could have I done better? Like, what did I do wrong? Like, I don't understand. And also, you have to find that balance between knowing what you did was the best that you could, and also just trying to be mindful of their feelings. So that was like a really big challenge that I had to like overcome. And I had friendship problems before, but that was something different because I didn't get response back. And so this overcoming friendship and asking for forgiveness, I in the end had to choose humility. I had to, you know, let my frustrations not get the best of me and not assume a lot, and just simply say, I'm so sorry if I had said something wrong, like please communicate with that to me and let me know. And you know, I gave them time, I gave them the space that they needed to process whatever. And you know, eventually towards the end, they finally talked to me. You know, they finally told me what was happening, and that they just felt really bad and guilty, and they didn't know how else to respond, and the only thing they could think of was running away for that moment. But that it was nothing against me, it was just them and how they needed to really process in that moment. So, you know, like even if you did the best that you could, like my advice, like my thing to tell you right now is just to be mindful and to give yourself that balance and give yourself credit too, you know, like unless you were stomping in and yelling at them, like that's just a whole different story. But if you did the best that you could to communicate, find that balance between understanding them and also being firm in what you communicate with, because they are your feelings and your feelings are valid just as their feelings are valid as well.
Yeah. As long as, like you say, you know, I mean, I think it made me think of Peter, you know, like when Peter betrayed Jesus, like they were friends.
Yeah.
And he betrayed him, right? And Peter was so ashamed, right? Like, but he had to humble himself and go back to like Mary, because he couldn't go back to Jesus because he was dead. But he had to humble himself, acknowledge his mistake, and then as long as you clear your heart with your good intentions, you know, like God will work everything out for you. The other thing that I wanted to ask you, again, as you grow in friendship and you communicate with people, sometimes some of your friends may get involved with other friendships or vices that, especially as you grow older, or family problems, and then you just find escapes, you know, that are harmful for the other person.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, if you happen to know someone that is having a relationship that it could harm them, or they're starting drinking or doing drugs or doing anything that is harming them, how do you, if you have done this, how do you still be pastoral, loving to them, kind of like calling them out, like not snitching on them, because that sounds really bad, but really you are looking for their best interest as a friend. So how would you handle, or how have you handled a situation where one, you really can't control, but you do love your friend so much that you have to, in a way, call them out, or maybe seek someone else's help to help that other person?
Wow, there are so many instances that I can think of. I guess I'm just going to give two different types of examples. One, I'll go off of, you probably might have to seek help for this one. You know, I've had a few friends where their scapegoats were, you know, different things that were very toxic, that weren't okay. And, you know, me, I can be confrontational if I have, not confrontation, but I can put my foot down. If I need to, I can put my foot down, and really seek that help, or, you know, call somebody out for something. But, you know, but it takes me a while. Like, I need to warm up to it. I need to reflect on it, process it, all this stuff. But there are times where I've had friends that were just the things that they did were very toxic, and I didn't know how else to deal with it. I didn't know how else to walk with them. And so I thought about, you know, the adults that I trusted the most. And, you know, I really hate the word snitch. Like, I hate the way that people use it in certain situations, because sometimes it's not snitching. It's simply wanting to care, or like you're simply caring and wanting the best for the other person, but you simply don't know how. And when you tell an adult, it may not always mean to go to the parents of that person, or it may not mean that you need to confront them, or the adult needs to confront them. You know, telling a trusted adult can also mean seeking advice from them. Like my mom, like I do, yeah, I guess. But no, I do trust my mom a lot, especially in high school, because like, you know, a lot of things happen in high school. And the thing is, it's like, maybe you don't get these vibes from my mom, but I know her, and I know she's not the type of person that will simply go to the parent and be like, your kid is doing blah, 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 blah. Like, my mom is all about confidentiality. It's not just part of her job, it is part of what she truly believes in, unless it's harming the other person. But if this person is just being stupid or something, you know, she advises me to just sometimes let them have their space, or advises me to simply do what I think is right. And maybe that's just telling them the truth and telling them that they're hurting themselves. And if they listen, they listen. And if not, to walk away. So find the adult. Maybe it's not your parents, because sometimes it's really hard to find that balance in telling our parents everything and just wanting them to listen. But try to think or find an adult that you truly believe will be there to listen and not just look for action, not just tell you to simply, you know, or like tattletale, I guess, in a way. You know, find someone that wants the best interest for your friends just as much as you do. And just trust the adult too. You have to trust adults sometimes, all the time, really. But another example that I can think of are people with like my closest friends. My best friend, one of my best friends, where I love her to pieces, but sometimes she makes the dumbest decisions. And, you know, I listen to her, I let her vent or whatever, but I know what she's doing, or, you know, like her decisions or whatever, I'm like, they're not okay. And I have to say, like, look, I love you very much, but I know you, I know your heart, and this is me not judging you. Like, when you let your friend know, like, tell them as it is, it's not judging them, you know, it's just wanting the best for them again. You're not looking down at them at all. Like, let this come from a place of love. If it's coming from a place of like being judgmental, then you check yourself, you know, like, think about it. Like, think, is this you judging them, or is this you truly coming out of love and wanting the best for them? And so I tell her, I'm like, I love you, I don't know what you're doing, but you need to step back. Like, I think you need to step back and truly see what you're doing. And they will be like, oh, I agree with you, or I don't agree with you. And if they don't agree with me, then I'll be like, okay, why? Like, we just listen to each other, and I'm like, and we come to an understanding, you know? And then I just let them know, like, hey, no matter what, I'm always here for you. I'll always love you. And I'll walk with you whenever you need me to. I'll be here, you know? You know, just coming out of that, like, those are ways that you need to be, need to humble yourself, come from a non-judgmental place, come from a very loving place, and just knowing when to put your foot down and when to entrust an adult.
Yeah. Yep, you know, and then there's another saying, you know, that for all of us adults, this is ageless, is that to think of like your 3 closest relationships that you have. You know, I want you to think about this. The 3 closest relationships that you have, and how are they doing? Like, who are they? Like, think about them, because they said that those 3 closest relationships are really who you are, you know. And again, we've talked about, like, if you want to be a good friend, if you want to have good friends, be a good friend. But who are the people that are influencing you in your friendship? So I'll leave you with that. We'll leave you with that. Think about the 3 closest relationships that you have, and think about it. Is this a relationship that I still need to foster? Is this what level of relationship this should be? Is this one where I should trust with all my heart, or is this one just to hang out, just to listen, just to, you know, study? Are these relationships bringing me closer to Christ? Am I bringing my friends closer to Christ? Because it could be the other way around. Maybe you're the one that is influencing. So friendships are the number one thing in our lives. We are meant for friendships. We are meant for community. Jesus had friends. He wants to be our friends, you know. So just continue to foster this. It's worth fighting for your friendships. And trust me, if you feel like you don't have friends right now, just pray about that. Just like Michelle said, you know, Brenda said it too, you know, pray about the friendships, the people that are that God, Jesus is sending to your life. He'll send good people to you that will walk with you and that will walk with you to heaven. And we're here walking you to heaven. We'll see you. We're going to heaven.
Wait, can I say something really quickly?
Yeah.
I just want you to think, when you reflect on your friendships, the friendships you may have now, or when you're looking for friends, I want you to ask yourself right now, like 2 questions. And these are 2 questions that I asked myself when I had to reevaluate a friendship, even from like, I don't know, middle school, like elementary, because again, you go through so many different people. But these are questions I always ask myself, even now. 1, are they helping you grow? Are they helping you grow in your faith, or at least helping you grow in life, in your heart? Are they helping you become a better person, a better version of yourself? And the second one is, how well are they willing to communicate with you? That's so important. If they are meeting you halfway, if they are trying to figure out how to communicate, then great, that's lovely. Then they are really putting an effort into this friendship. But if they're not willing to do that, if they're not willing to recognize your way of communication and try to find you in that middle, then they're not worth the time, because they don't see the importance of communicating in everything you do, every relationship, friendship, or significant other. Like, you always need to have that good communication. So those 2 things, growth and communication, always important in friendships.
All right, guys. Thank you for bearing with us here at the Gomez Corner.
Corner. This is
Peace out. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Do, 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 do.
Hey everyone, welcome back to our last series. That's not a series, it's a session.
It looks as good as pulled pork.
Look at my nail sticker.
Okay, quiet. Hi everyone, welcome back to our SOS. No, it's not.
No, I've been here. I'll come sit with you.
Oh, it's.
I know, I'm thinking. Hold on.
Okay. Welcome, Brenda.
Hi.
Hi. So we're this one. Okay, so okay. All right, that was hold on. My bra keeps on showing. Okay. Thanks, Brenda. That was really great. So as Brenda was sharing, you know, she's talking a lot about
Sorry.
She's talking a lot about spending time with your friends and, you know, listening to them or having them listen to her. You know, and that's how you grow in friendship. So with that in mind, I would like to ask Brenda again, what are so first, like I was saying, you know, we need to have like priorities. We need to have, okay, I'm gonna edit this a lot. Okay, Gabby, can I record? Wait, no, I have to finish this video first. So,
Okay.
you need to give Mommy's finishing some work. Come on. Wait. You can go outside and wait for me, or you can stay here and... We expect people to be friendship, as people should not expect us to be perfect. Did I say friendship or perfect?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Like, all right, whatever.
Yep.
It's like, that's really hard, especially when you
Like this video.
Bye.